She adopted a sick, withdrawn boy nobody else wanted, raising him with nothing but love and patience. Years later, a stranger showed up at her door, and the truth about who her son really was changed everything. If you love slow burn found family romance with real emotional stakes, hit subscribe now. You don't want to miss this one. Like this video if you're already hooked, and stay till the end. Talia had walked past Kai's file 3 times before she finally picked it up. He was 4, sickly, and had already been through 4 failed foster placements. He needs someone patient, the caseworker warned her. He doesn't open up easily. The first meeting proved her right. Kai sat rigid across from her, answering in single syllables, refusing to meet her eyes. When she held out a small stuffed rabbit, he set it aside without a word, as though he'd already learned that things people gave you could be taken away again. She came back the following week anyway, and the week after that. It took 2 months before he spoke more than a few words to her at once. It took 3 before he let her sit close enough that their shoulders touched while they read. By the time the adoption was finalized, 5 months after that first meeting, he'd started calling her simply Talia, instead of Miss Talia. "You're really not going anywhere?" he asked her once, in the careful voice he used only for things that actually mattered. "I'm really not going anywhere," she told him. 3 years later, Kai was a different child. Still quiet by nature, but settled now, secure, prone to sudden bursts of laughter that still caught Talia off guard with how unguarded they were. She'd built her entire life around him. A modest apartment, a teaching job with hours that matched his school day, a small circle of friends who understood her weekends belonged to her son. She'd stopped imagining a version of her life that included anything else. She had no way of knowing, watching him build a block tower on their living room floor one ordinary Tuesday, that a search 7 years in the making was quietly closing in on their front door. The knock came on a Saturday morning. Talia checked the peephole out of habit and found 2 men in her hallway, one clearly security, the other older, in an expensive dark suit that looked entirely out of place in her building. "Talia Brooks?" he asked, his Korean accent careful and precise. "My name is Mr. Choi. I represent a client who believes your adopted son may be connected to a family search that's been ongoing for several years. I'd like a few minutes of your time." Every protective instinct in her rose at once. "I think you have the wrong family," she said, already easing the door shut. "Please," he said, not aggressively, but firmly enough that she paused. "I'm not here to take anything from you today. I'm only asking permission to run a DNA comparison. If I'm wrong, you'll never hear from us again." "Whose family?" she asked finally. "My employer is a powerful businessman here in Korea," Mr. Choi said. 7 years ago, during a violent conflict within his organization, his infant son was taken during an attack on his household. The child was never recovered. He has never stopped searching. And you think that's Kai? We have reason to believe it's possible. A birthmark matched against his early hospital records. Talia took the card he offered without looking at it. That night, after Kai had fallen asleep, she sat at her kitchen table staring at the number for a long time before finally calling a lawyer, terrified of what confirming the truth might cost her. The results came back 12 days later, definitive. Kai Brooks was the biological son of Junho Park, head of one of Korea's most powerful and feared criminal organizations. Junho requested a meeting immediately. The man who walked into her lawyer's office looked nothing like what she'd braced for. Not cold or calculating, but a man whose composure seemed to be barely holding together, his eyes going instantly to the small photo of Kai she'd brought. "That's him," he said quietly. 7 years, and that's actually him. "That's my son," Talia said, firm despite the tremor underneath it. "Whatever biology says, I need you to understand that before we discuss anything else." "I understand you've raised him," Junho said, "but he's also my son. Taken the nightmen trying to destroy everything I've built, murdered 3 of my guards, and disappeared with my infant child. I've spent 7 years searching for him. I'm not walking away now that I've found him." The weeks that followed unfolded like a slow-motion collision. Junho's lawyers filed for custody through Korean and international courts. Talia's lawyer fought back, arguing 7 years of stable parenthood against a biological claim with no ongoing relationship behind it. Kai felt the tension even through Talia's efforts to shield him from it. "Why do I have to meet that man again?" he asked after a second supervised visit. "I don't want a different family. You're my family." "I am your family," Talia said, pulling him into a hug. "That's not going to change, Kai. No matter what happens with any of this." She wasn't entirely sure she could promise that. She needed him to believe it anyway. Junho found the process more agonizing than he'd expected. Every visit reminded him how much of his son's life he'd missed. "He flinches when voices get loud," he said to Talia once. "Why is that?" "A few hard years before I adopted him," she said. "I don't know all of it, but loud environments still make him anxious sometimes." 2 months into mediation, during a tense session, Junho finally dropped the legal posturing. "I'm not trying to erase you," he said. "I've watched you with him. I don't want to destroy what you've built." "Then what do you want?" "I want my son to know his father, without erasing the only parent he's ever known." "I'm willing to discuss shared custody," Talia said slowly. "Real shared custody. But I need you to understand. I raised him through every hard year nobody else saw. If we do this, we do it as equals. Not you as his real family and me as the woman who happened to raise him for a while." "I would never ask that of you," Junho said. "I already know how much you matter to him. I just want the chance to matter too." The custody arrangement came together faster than either lawyer expected. Talia keeping primary custody, Junho relocating temporarily to build trust slowly instead of forcing Kai into an unfamiliar life all at once. The early visits were stiff. Kai stayed polite but distant. It was Talia, more than either of them expected, who became the bridge between them. "He likes it when you ask about his block towers instead of just complimenting them," she told Junho. "He wants curiosity, not praise." It worked. Junho learned to fold Kai's socks the way he liked them. Learned which nightlight kept the nightmares away. The entire small world Talia had built around their son over years Junho hadn't been present for. "I assumed you'd be cold," Talia admitted one evening. Entitled. "I was wrong about most of that." "I appreciate you saying that," Junho said. "More than you know." 5 months into the arrangement, after a good day at the park, Junho asked her to dinner. "Not to discuss scheduling," he said. "Just dinner. As friends," Talia said, though something in his expression suggested he wasn't entirely sure that's all he was asking for. "As friends," he agreed. Neither of them fully believed it would stay that way. The threat arrived without warning. A remnant of the faction responsible for the original attack had resurfaced, emboldened by word that Junho's heir had been found, living unprotected in another country. "They know about Kai," Junho told her over the phone, voice tight. "I'm sending security to your apartment tonight. Please just let them in." Armed guards arrived within the hour. Kai, sensing the fear no one could fully hide from him, grew withdrawn again. Old anxious habits resurfacing after months of progress. Junho moved them to a secured estate by morning. "This is my fault," he said, watching Kai through the window, curled silently in a corner instead of playing. "I promised myself I'd keep him safe. Instead I brought this straight to him." "You didn't create this threat," Talia said, reaching for his hand without thinking. "You're the one fighting it. We'll keep him safe. Together." Junho looked down at their joined hands. "I don't know what I'd be doing right now without you," he said quietly. The danger was neutralized within the week. Kai's fear slowly eased, aided by both of them working together to steady him. And somewhere in those frightening days, watching Junho fight fiercely for the family they'd built, watching his composure crack just enough to show fear and gratitude underneath, Talia finally let herself admit what had been growing for months. Weeks later, Life at the estate had settled. Kai's laughter drifted up from the garden most afternoons. Easy and unguarded. Proof the danger was truly behind them. Junho found Talia on the terrace one evening. "I don't want to just carefully co-parent forever," he said. "I want to build something real. With you. Not instead of what you and Kai have, alongside it." "I wasn't looking for this," Talia said. "Any of it. You, or the danger, or falling for a man I once thought I had to fight." "Neither was I," Junho said. "But I'm not interested in pretending I don't feel it just because it's complicated." She stepped closer, the last of her guardedness finally giving way. "Then don't," she said. He reached for her hand, lacing his fingers through hers, and she let him. Below them, Kai's laughter carried up from the garden. The boy nobody wanted, now at the center of a family neither of them had expected, built out of loss, patience, and two people who refused to let him go.